India may have started a little late, but I want to assure all of you, we will finish first by rolling out 5G services across the length and breadth of India.
2023 मार्च तक काफ़ी शहरों में और 2024 मार्च तक सारे देश में 5G का फैलाव करेंगे.
We will soon begin the 5G rollout journey. We will leverage our strong presence in rural India.
आज दुनिया भर में भारत में विकसित 5G टेक्नोलॉजी की चर्चा है और बहुत अच्छी संभावना है कि आगामी वर्षों में भारत एक टेलीकॉम टेक्नोलॉजी के लीडर के रूप में इमर्ज होगा.
1 अक्टूबर 2022 ये तारीख इतिहास में दर्ज होने वाली है. आज 130 करोड़ भारतवासियों को 5G के तौर पर एक शानदार उपहार मिल रहा है.
Hello and welcome. You're watching our special broadcast on India's 5G rollout. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has launched 5G services in India at the India Mobile World Congress in New Delhi. So, what's the rollout plan? Well, Jio has promised 5G services across India by December 2023. Bharti Airtel's Mittal has vowed to provide 5G services in the country by March 2024, while Vodafone Idea said it would begin its 5G journey soon, but does not have a timeline for that just yet. Here is the Prime Minister and the Telecom Minister at the 5G launch event.
5G को लेकर भारत के प्रयासों का एक और संदेश है. नया भारत टेक्नोलॉजी का सिर्फ कंज्यूमर बनकर नहीं रहेगा, बल्कि भारत उस टेक्नोलॉजी के विकास में, उसके इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में बहुत बड़ी एक्टिव भूमिका निभाएगा. भारत आज दुनिया के उन देशों में है जहां डेटा इतना सस्ता है. पहले 1 GB डेटा की कीमत जहां 300 रुपये के करीब होती थी, वहीं आज 1 GB डेटा का खर्च केवल 10 रुपये तक आ गया है.
देश में 5G सर्विसेज कई सेक्टर्स में फंडामेंटल चेंज आएगा. एजुकेशन, हेल्थ, एग्रीकल्चर, लॉजिस्टिक्स, बैंकिंग, ये ऐसे सेक्टर है जिसमें एक मूलभूत परिवर्तन आएगा. नई संभावनाएं उत्पन्न होगी. डिजिटल कैपेबिलिटीज को सेंटर में रख के उसके चारों तरफ नई सर्विसेज क्रिएट होंगी.
Even as we welcome 5G in India, the question that we're asking right now is, will 5G trigger another leg of consolidation for the Indian telecom sector? By consolidation, we mean market share gains for Bharti Airtel and Jio and a loss in revenue market share for Vodafone Idea. Well, today, Reliance Jio has reiterated that it will roll out 5G services in key cities by Diwali, and it's aiming to have a pan-India presence by December 2023. Bharti Airtel too reiterated that it's aiming to have a complete 5G coverage by March 2024. But there is no concrete timeline from Vodafone Idea just yet on the 5G rollout. At the launch event, Kumar Mangalam Birla said that their 5G journey will soon begin. But as I said, no specific timeline has been mentioned. So why this uncertainty? Well, one of the reasons could be the long pending conversion of their AGR dues into government stake or equity. This has been pending since January of this year, and only once there is clarity on the government stake conversion will the company be able to raise external funding from investors, which will give Vodafone Idea money to fund its 5G rollout plans. Speaking at the event, Kumar Mangalam Birla said that the company would roll out 5G very soon, but again, not specified a specific timeline. So what's the risk of a delayed Vodafone Idea 5G launch versus peers? The risk is there is a flight of their 4G customers who may wish to move to competitors to get the benefit of 5G's faster speed and lower latency. Vodafone Idea has nearly 20 million postpaid subscribers and 119 million 4G data subscribers, and Vodafone Idea stands the risk of losing some of these very premium subscribers, and this could drive a further market share loss. In fact, Vodafone Idea has been consistently losing market share. In FY18, its market share was 38%. It's dwindled down to 18%, while the combined market share of Airtel and Jio has now risen to nearly 75%. With Vodafone Idea's lower capex spend versus peers, its inability or a delayed 5G launch, the worry is that its market share loss would continue, which will drive another leg of consolidation. But as I wrap this up, I quickly want to highlight what is needed to drive 5G's adoption in India. One is smartphone availability and pricing. Well, recently what we picked up is that India has only 9% of its existing smartphones which are 5G compatible and 30% of the phone shipments which support 5G. These two numbers need to improve. Also, the price of a 5G smartphone is fairly prohibitive. The 5G smartphone is roughly priced at about $350, while the price of an average phone could be close to about $200. The affordability of 5G handsets is directly linked to 5G adoption, and in that context, all eyes will be on the Reliance Jio 5G smartphone pricing. The second thing the street's going to be watching out very closely is 5G pricing. The industry pricing has been on an upswing. We've seen 2 rounds of a 20% price hike in the last 2 years, but ARPUs today, despite this price hike, are still lower than what they were in FY16 before Jio's launch. The question is, can the faster speed of 5G drive a faster rise in ARPU? That's something we will be watching out very closely. But getting back to the big event today, here are highlights from the telecom honchos at the 5G launch event.
As an industry, we will ensure that we have the highest quality and the most affordable rates that anyone else has in the world. Today, I want to reiterate Jio's commitment to deliver 5G to every town, every taluka, and every tehsil of our district by December of 2023.
मैं आपको यकीन दिलाना चाहता हूं कि भारती के सब लोग और एयरटेल के सब लोग पूरे जोर से, पूरी अपना हिम्मत से 5G को देश में फैलाएंगे और 2023 मार्च तक काफ़ी शहरों में और 2024 मार्च तक सारे देश में 5G का फैलाव करेंगे। और आज जब आप लॉन्च करेंगे इस 5G को, तो 8 शहरों में आज 5G एयरटेल की तरफ से उपलब्ध होगा। दिल्ली, वाराणसी, मुंबई, बेंगलोर और कई शहरों में।
We will soon begin the 5G rollout journey. We will leverage our strong presence in rural India, our enterprise customers, our technology partners, and the global experience of the Vodafone Group for progressively rolling out our 5G networks and services in the coming period. Today, we are greatly honored that our beloved Prime Minister will soon launch the VI 5G use case demonstration.
My colleague Ashwin Kumar now joins us from Pragati Maidan with the key highlights.
Well, it's interesting. We had the Prime Minister speak to the audience here just a short while back. What's interesting is that he's laid out 4 mantras going forward. What has been, in fact, the mantras guiding the government's efforts so far and will continue to do so in the future. He pointed out the 4 mantras being the device prices defies affordability, digital connectivity, data pricing, that's data affordability, and finally digital fast thinking. He essentially has said that these are various aspects which have in the past, the efforts that were made have yielded results. So he made references to the low pricing of data. He spoke about affordability of various devices, and he spoke about these challenges that were in fact facing the telecom sector and how they've been largely addressed. And in fact, this is something that was echoed even by the telecom minister, who said that there is a turnaround being seen in the telecom space. It's being seen as a sunrise space. The big question, of course, now remains is that the spectrum that was picked up very recently, 1.5 lakh crore rupees, those were the revenue expected receipts for the government. How will it now begin to roll out? Now, it's interesting, when Sunil Bharti Mittal was speaking, he pointed out that as of today, 5G services will be made available in 8 urban centers, including the likes of Delhi, Mumbai, Varanasi, Bangalore. Jio, meanwhile, has set for itself a very aggressive target of December 2023. Mukesh Ambani very clearly spelling out that every tehsil will be covered by December 2023. Airtel has it set for itself a target of March 2024. VI, meanwhile, has not clarified, but they have said that the rollout is likely to begin soon. So again, it will be a challenging conversation going forward. In our previous conversations, we spoke to the telecom minister. He said that the capex that the telcos could be looking at in terms of rolling out 5G over the next 18 to 24 months would be somewhere in the vicinity of 2 lakh crore rupees. So we're talking large numbers here. Today, of course, is just the very first step being taken here. Rollout being seen, we saw use cases, but this journey is only likely to strengthen from here at least. That's the claim made by the telecom minister and then subsequently backed by the Prime Minister himself. Back to you.
Ashwin, thank you very much for that. Time for a short break. When we return, we'll speak to telecom experts on India's 5G launch, the opportunities and the challenges. We're in conversation with our experts. They're still waiting by to chat with us. So let me quickly welcome once again R. Chandrasekhar, Tarun Pathak, Jaideep Ghosh and Prakash Diwan on the show now. Gentlemen, thank you very much for patiently waiting by. Mr. Chandrasekhar, first wanted to get your thoughts. What did you make? What were your key takeaways?
Well, I think that what we saw was the telecom operators reiterating in front of the PM their commitment to the timelines, which I think are very, very aggressive and impressive because, rolling out 5G has its own challenges in terms of infrastructure, in terms of like we were talking about, the user equipment and the content and the use cases. There's so many fronts on which battles will have to be fought. But because I think it is very much in the interest of the telecom operators and increasing their revenues quickly in order to service the commitments that have already been made for paying for the spectrum, it is very much in their interest to ensure that this is fast forwarded as much as possible. So I think what we saw was some specific timelines. And to me, the timeline for the rollout is not as significant as the timeline for the actual services to become available. And again, what is of significance is not whether I'm able to use 5G. Right now, for example, I am on a 5G connection through a landline. But so what is significant is not just the rollout of 5G, but actually the unique kind of services which only a 5G and particularly a mobile 5G can enable.
Jaideep Ghosh, Prakash Diwan, we've got Dipar Mehta as well joining in, and Sanjay Kapoor has been present with us from the very beginning. Gentlemen, thank you very much for waiting by. Jaideep, how should we understand enterprise pricing? We have a sense of what B2C pricing is. We get the ARPUs from the telecom operators every quarter. But suppose I am a manufacturing plant and I want 5G to enable Industry 4.0. Your thoughts on how, we should start thinking about how operators can start pricing in 5G services to enterprises?
Okay. I've observed over the years, Rima, you tend to ask the difficult questions to me. Over many years, I'm like kind of, things which either nobody knows or definitely I do not know. I see enterprise, we have worked a little bit. I personally also have some information which I may share at a high level. Some of the more technology kind of enterprise customers, they have been, running pilots, not necessarily with 5G, but with 4G. So as and when 5G comes, they can launch. So there is some amount of readiness there in terms of what, some of the more tech-oriented manufacturing companies for their, within manufacturing plant area and captive kind of, geographies, etc. So that pricing is nothing to do with, ARPU. And anyway, I stopped looking at ARPU many years back. And I think the right person to comment is my good friend Sanjay on what are the right KPIs to look. I think these prices these will not be a bandwidth-only solution. I'll keep it short. I think these solutions will involve not only a telecom operator, or in case that CNP and captive non-public, spectrum, some of the large enterprises may take, it will not be a bandwidth-based or only per GB, etc. kind of pricing. It will be a solution in which you need the telco, you need system integrators, other solution providers, etc. to specify what is the need that particular enterprise or even government customers, say smart cities, etc., or even for fleet management of large fleets, etc. And that kind of pricing will depend on many factors. It's not only nothing to do with how much bandwidth or how much minutes or things like that. The pricing may not be as simple also in terms of so and so dollars per month or something. It could be different innovative models. You do this, that much pricing. There could be a lot of sharing model. We have seen. I have been involved for many years in the revenue sharing model, and those models we should see. So in short, I don't think it's going to be a very plain vanilla per month dollars, rupees, so and so. It could be a stitched solution, and the pricing will be based on the solution impact on the customer over a period of time.
No, absolutely. It's going to be a very complex pricing, which is why I posed this question to you, Jaideep. But Prakash, Bharti as well as Reliance Jio committed to their rollout timelines. Vodafone Idea was a bit vague. They just said, Kumar Mangalam Birla just said that we will begin our 5G rollout journey soon. What did you make of that?
So I think it very clearly indicates the level of preparedness is probably not as high as you would see in the other two cases. That the company could be very specific, right? So, I mean, they could have at least mentioned when they could begin, or what kind of a stage they are looking at completing all the rollouts in. But nothing of that sort came in. So the lack of specifics is definitely something which is in a way thought-provoking. And I think it's more to do with the state of the business, the current business itself, in terms of the capital restructuring, as I said, which has been pending a long time now. Interestingly, the rollout plans are far more aggressive or impressive, as Mr. Chandrasekhar very rightly said, than what we were anticipating. I mean, December 23 is just about 12 months plus from here. It's just about 15 months away of sorts. And that's precisely what I was talking about, that the potential to re-rate for some of these companies, the businesses, the revenue models, is going to be dependent on how the adaptation takes place. One is the rollout issue, and the other is how soon the user experience starts translating into revenues. And that could probably be sooner than 2025 is my guess, in terms of reaching the optimal level. So 2024, if that's like what you're looking at in terms of the growth area. Vodafone again is nowhere in the picture at this point in time to kind of assess all of those values in terms of if you were to work backwards. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a miss for them for sure at this point in time, unless they come up with a belated rollout plan, and that's more specific than what we were till date.
Dipan, is the lack of specifics from Vodafone Idea a bit worrying to you? And also want you to comment on the statement made by Mukesh Ambani, where he said that we'll ensure high quality 5G, but the most affordable rates. So I want you to pick on that point about affordability. If 5G is going to be very affordable, what does that mean for telecom operators, ARPUs from here on, and a price increase?
Yeah, good afternoon, rather good morning, and thanks for having me on your show. First on Vodafone, I think that I agree with Prakash that, again, the uncertainty around Vodafone has just gone 1 decibel higher. And the recent announcement made by Indus Towers about recovery, I think that puts an element of, I would say, fear in the minds of investors of Vodafone. And one really needs to consider an investment in that company at this point of time. They've been trying to raise resources, but have not succeeded so far. So let's hope for everyone's benefit, the company is really able to turn around its operations. Coming to your second question about affordability, see, I think telecom companies have to say that it's going to be affordable, and that's how they're going to market these particular schemes as well. Whether actually, of course, the initial packages will be affordable, but then, I think you would see creeping prices going up over there for those packages. End of the day, the telecom companies are there to make the maximum out of this opportunity. And the customers that they're going to be catering to for 5G are the ones who can pay a significantly higher tariff plan as well. And they're going to exploit this particular opportunity as well. There would be only basically 2 players who are going to offer this particular package or this particular service. And that eventually, maybe not in the first quarter, the second quarter, but once the excitement around 5G kind of settles down and dies down, I'm pretty certain that both the telecom companies will engage in trying to increase their tariff plans, which will be very positive for the telecom companies per se, especially the return ratios. And only after they see how these prices are being absorbed, will they look at expanding the 5G network and investing more in that particular sort of capex plan for that particular service.
Well, even if the telecom operators take a massive ARPU hike, they will still be the most affordable in India. India's ARPUs would roughly be, what, $2? Or, close to $2. I think in China, it would be $6, $7. In EU, it would be in excess of $12. So even if they take a very, very, very big price hike, they would still be the most affordable. Tarun, all the operators were fairly quiet on the, context of devices, the pricing, which is your area. What did you make of, the conversations, the statements, the comments that we heard from the telecom operators, as well as the minister?
I think they are already quite positive on that. They might have already seen it on the network. Like I said, there are already 50 million 5G devices that are being there already in the hand of the consumers. So they are quite assured on the device ecosystem. I think the challenges are more on the adoption curve. So looking at the example from the China, there is almost 9 out of 10 new phones are a 5G phone in China. But if you look at from the subscriber point of view, almost 50% of those 5G users on the devices are actually using a 4G data pack. So the point is, even in one of the biggest country in the world, people are still not using the 5G plans in the more aggressive way than it should have been. And even looking at the telcos where the 5G networks have been lit up 2 years, 3 years back, the average increase in the worldwide operators revenue has gone up by only 2 to 3%. So India needs to be, I'll say from the operator's point of view, they will be cautiously optimistic on that to see how the India specific use case will be there. And the mind share of the 5G within the consumers is likely to be very high. Now, the point is when you have an expectation very high of a particular services, then the experience should also be on the similar grounds. Otherwise, it will be what you expect and what you get will be on a different platform altogether. And we are looking at a very, very aggressive rollout right now. So that needs to be looked into. I think if we get that timing right, then the ARPU is going to be somewhere between 250, 300, and that will be that is going to be great news for the operators. So I think device ecosystem, to coming back to your question, I think they are quite assured of that. Looking at even the component ecosystem, the kind of innovation we are seeing even on the RFFE part, which is a critical part of the 5G devices, I think we are good. A very strong development and innovation is already happening on the devices side of things.
Mr. Uppal, first question, your top 3 takeaways from Prime Minister's speech.
Well, a key takeaway, of course, is the Prime Minister's very strong belief in the power of technology and the power of Indians to deliver on technology goals. So that is huge. The Prime Minister clearly sees the need to improve the environment for technology as an important policy objective. And he also sees 5G as a technology which will have a much wider and pervasive impact on both individuals and, more importantly, the economy. So, and of course, in that sense, it will also make India extremely competitive, because a lot of the use cases, a lot of the software, a lot of increasingly more and more hardware is being designed in India, and in some of it even being made in India. So that means that India can probably play a larger role in the 5G ecosystem. That is the kind of belief he has.
Dipan, 4G heralded the app economy. Movie streaming was not possible with 3G, but it was possible with 4G, booking Ubers. And there were so many other apps which became ubiquitous thanks to 4G. The SaaS businesses mushroomed all over the world. What will 5G do? And any particular stocks that you would watch outside of the listed telecom names, in the stock market, but say something like a Nazara, which is into gaming. Any other, from a stock market point of view, What do you think 5G can do?
Yeah, Rima, I think 5G will eventually be a game changer for a lot of these new age digital businesses. And you spoke about Nazara. I think clearly new opportunities will open up for Nazara and the gaming sector because new gaming apps can be launched based on 5G. And mind you, these will be focused on the premium customer because that's where the 5G usage will start first. And that's the market that companies like Nazara and other new age digital businesses want to capture. So they will devise special games and service offerings around 5G, which will enable them to increase their revenue. Then there are other companies like Nykaa, which will use it extensively for marketing and displaying of their products and how to use it, and for better customer communication as well as feedback. Who knows? I think even companies like Zomato may use 5G to show you how your food is being prepared or have a chat with the chef when it is happening. So the kind of uses of 5G are unimaginable.
As we wrap up on this special coverage of 5G as we herald 5G in India, we leave you with some statements made by Akash Ambani, who was speaking at the 5G launch event. Take a look and thank you for watching.
जियो ने जैसे श्री मुकेश अंबानी जी मेरे पिताजी ने बताया, जियो का पूरा प्लान होएगा कि दिसंबर तक पूरा इंडिया कवर हो जाएगा। भाग इंडिया में अपन देखेंगे कि 5G के अनुसार बहुत सारे नए एप्लीकेशंस आएंगे और जैसे प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी जी ने बोला था कि नई क्रांति चालू हो जाएगी इंडिया में। एब्सोल्युटली हम बहुत अफोर्डेबल करेंगे, हर एक भारतवासी को अफोर्डेबल होना चाहिए, डिवाइस के लेके सर्विस तक सब कुछ तय करेंगे। थैंक यू।